Hello. Today's video is about two things, using white ink in Pilot parallel pens and how to use the ruling pen modification um, that we do here at Toronto Pen Company. So this pen I inked with Dr. P.H. Martin's pen white. I used about 5 drops of the ink along with about 5 drops of water, and just used an empty cartridge. That it turns out was, I think, a bit too much. This was about 3 days ago, so I've had this pen inked and it has been sitting out as a part of my test to see how well the ink fares. I actually don't ever plan to leave ink for longer than a day or two in these pens, but this is a water soluble ink, so we'll see how it works. Now I've had this pen out capless for a bit, so I really don't expect it to write right away, but we'll see how much what it takes to get it to write. So this is a scrap piece of paper. This is the paper I'm going to do my actual writing on, and obviously, as expected, it does not write. So I'm going to first try and clean it with this little strip that comes with Pilot parallel pens, and see if that would be enough to get rid of the dried part at the very end. So it does seem that the ink is in pretty good shape. I'll just move it around so we dissolve any dried bits that are in there, and put it aside. Test. And oh, this is impressive. It started writing right away. Now it's not flowing as well as it was when I put it away, so maybe a little bit off. Now one of the things I do is usually I dip it in water, so I have a few drops of water. I don't know if you can see it, and that basically gets the ink that is a little bit of upstream over here dissolved and active. And if that doesn't do enough, then I add a drop of water. Sorry, I was off camera, so I just do this with the water on it and kind of swish it around. If that doesn't work, then I add a drop of water in this little a bit, and it hopefully goes both ways and cleans things up for us. So let's give it another try. See is addition of water. It actually has added water, so much so that the ink isn't coming out, which actually might be a good thing. Now I'm going to mix whatever ink is left in. Now this is getting a bit dry as well, so I'm not really expecting miracles here, but at least it started working. I'll use a tissue to absorb some of the ink, and hopefully, yeah, so much better line. Now the thing to note with these folded pen / ruling pen mod is that in a lot of examples, and in mine as well, you'll see me making a lot of quick strokes. That isn't always necessary. Now I make a quick stroke because I know where I'm starting, where I'm ending. But if you want to do it slowly, there's nothing stopping you from doing that, and you'll still get nice gestural kind of writing out of it. So now I'd like to introduce a few styles of writing we can do with a ruling pen, with ruling pen mod. So now we have the Raptors game coming up, so with that theme in mind, we of course support our team. So as you see, I'm just using the wide part of the nib, and making the letters. Now as I make the letters, if I need a different angle, I will change the nib angle. So like some strokes are made at an angle, others are made straight, and depending on what you want. Now as you notice, this is still quite watery, and I can always go back and add another layer of paint. This is fairly opaque paint, and I'm for my next fill I'll probably add a little less water. Maybe I shouldn't be so given that this pen has started writing after being almost out of ink, and just a kind of less than a drop of water being added through the nib. It has started flowing again. I'm really impressed with the way it's started up. Much easier than expected, to be honest. I was expecting a bit more. I was expecting I'll have to take the nib out and kind of dip that in water and maybe add a drop of water in here in the feed. It seems to be going okay. So so that's kind of one style of writing. You can also do a thinner style of writing by just using the tip of the pen. So something like this. Now I'm trying to be a bit lively with the letters, so kind of an art deco feel, as well as some movement, so that we don't have very fine. Now one of the things I like to do is add kind of to the basic letter forms that we have, add a bit of weight. So for example, I'm repeating something that is that we just did, but we'll make it look a little different by adding weight just to the ends of these strokes. So this gives the long strokes a bit of a wasted look. Wasting being, the ends are a bit thicker than the main part of the stroke, so it looks like it has a waste. Now with a regular nib that has a slight bit of give to it, a broad edge nib, this is done by adding pressure, but here we are going back and just touching up slightly. So and I'm still using the end of the nib, but at a just ever so slightly flatter angle, and if I need a more delicate look, I'm just kind of filling it up with the very tip of it. Now this you will see gives and of course you can go as thick, much thicker than I'm going right now, if you want a heavier look, which also in some cases, especially with larger lettering, it looks really nice. Now the other thing I like about this ink and pen combination is that it dries very quickly, almost as quickly as the bleed proof white from Dr. P.H. Martin, which is just excellent for dip pens. So you see it's kind of the same, but not really the same. You can also do kind of a cursive version of. So for the cursive version, we're just going to make our down strokes a bit thicker, and the upstroke with the tip of the nib, and it will generate it will create this kind of thick and thin transition. So there we go. So we have that as an option, and you know, of course, you can just use the very tip of it to just do cursive. You can also turn it around, just if I want to write with the tip of the nib, and I'd get a monoline. It is not the smoothest experience, but it works. The 6 being Toronto. So Pilot Parallel with Dr. P.H. Martin's pen white. Excellent combination, in my opinion. Gives us a lot of options in terms of what we can do lettering wise. Here are a few examples of things I have done with this. So lots of I would say good stuff. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe to the channel for more videos, and as we introduce more cool tools. This pen is available on our website. The link is down there somewhere. Hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you very much.